Welcome again, Keepers of Light, and I call you that because you are just that, a keeper of light. The message coming through is about purpose. The word purpose alone insinuates that there is some sort of thing you have to do in this lifetime. And it is such a commonly used word that it is pretty misleading. And has everyone, or majority of the population, basically going around in circles, trying to figure out purpose, trying to determine what it is that they are here to do in this lifetime. Because when it is referred to, when purpose is referred to, it is often referred to from the standpoint that it is a fulfilling of something that has to be done, when in fact purpose is who you are. Purpose is who you are. It is not what you do, it is who you are. And let's be clear here that in order to continue with this message here, that I am making certain assumptions, that in all that I have done so far in terms of presenting this space here, of opening the space here in this form that it is taking, in labeling even you as a keeper of light, that I am making certain assumptions. The main one being that we are all of the same thing. We are all of the same energy, love. We are all of love. And from love is birthed all spectrums of imagination and therefore creation, whether high or low, whether labeled as good and evil, all of it is born from love. Because when you sit and look at it when you and if you sit and look at love, or rather, better yet, let me use the example. If you sit and examine hate and, let's say, hatred and bad, when you examine the opposite end of the spectrum of what we are, what has manifested as the opposite or the other end of reflection of love is negativity, is this lower frequency energy that is expressed and described as the words hate and what is wrong, what is bad, what is awful, what is horrific, what is suffering on this plane. Even those are born of love. Because when you look at and tear it apart, if you look at the subject of war, for example, you will see that each soldier, whether from one side or the other, each is motivated by love. Whether it be love of self, love of family, love of country, it is all a motivation of love. It is why we as families wake in support of one another and live from day to day in this matrix of giving and taking, of struggle and exaltation even. All of it. From the source of love. And so, every message I share with the assumption that love is at the source. That love is why we exist. That love is the ultimate energy that we aspire to. Not because we need to aspire to it, but because we are it. And therefore we are remembering who we are when in search of it, when in our day-to-day lives, we are compelled to move and act and present ourselves to ourselves and to one another. When we are in interaction with one another, it is because we have been compelled to do so by love. And so, with this assumption aside, I come back to the subject at hand, which is purpose. And so with all the doing that we are doing, with all the interacting and the playing out of our lives, whether we are in a position of the highest level of authority or not, it matters not. We call that purpose. Yet, in fact, purpose is not what we do with our lives. Purpose is who we are. Purpose is who you are. And so you came into this existence not to find purpose, but to find yourself again. Which is why most of my messages are about remembering. Remembering how the reason for all the doingness in this existence, if we can all simply remember that we all are after the same thing, we all are trying to remember ourselves, to remember who we are, to remember that we are love, and that love is what compels us. If we can grasp this one elemental facet of truth as to our being, rather than pursuing or rather identifying ourselves as though we are a pursuit to something. Yes, there is pursuit, and yes, there always will be, because that is the nature of this existence, for us to be involved in this thing called life, this reality. But I am here to remind you that regardless and in spite of and in cohesion with what you do with your life, should, and I say should, not because I mean to dictate to you what path to take, but only because I reach to that part of you that is understanding that these words are not a judgment of you, but a reflection. They are meant as a reflection to you as to the beauty, the magnificence, the powerhouse entity of being that you are. If purpose is who you are, then it is nothing to do with what you're doing. It is everything to do with who you are being. As you are doing what you are doing. It has everything to do with remembering, if not already, remembering how to love yourself in the highest form of manifestation available to you on this plane, to love the other in the same way. But as long as you believe that your purpose is anything different than your fellow man, as long as you hold to purpose as though it were anything outside of what and who you already are, then you continue to walk yourself around in circles, in confusion, in debate, and in war, even. For this is the manifestation and the consequence of the misunderstanding of purpose. For one, your purpose is to remember that you are love. In fact, you are purpose. You are purpose. And so, to remember your purpose is to remember who you are. And to remember who you are is to come back into alignment with the energetic force that compels you into action, whatever that action happens to be for you, on a moment-to-moment basis, day-to-day, year-to-year. The fact of the matter is that the only purpose there is in service to love. In service to, therefore, yourself and others. To remember this is to remember how to fall back in love with yourself, to fall in love with life, to fall in love with others, to end this pursuit of needing to create an enemy of yourself or of another. Purpose is who you are, and who you are is love, and therefore love is purpose. And so there is really nothing to do in service to that other than to acknowledge your beingness, to acknowledge that shared amongst all of us is this energetic presence of love. This is the call for all light keepers, the call that is now being answered, for the remembering has begun, for these words would not be possible. These messages would not be in a position to be vocalized in the way that they are here in this moment, in the way that you are receiving them. And so I will leave it here. With an incredible sense of joy for the love that we are. Until next time.